The United States is watching a drama unfold, a story about power, law, and the foundations of American democracy. At the center is President Donald Trump, whose presidency has been marked by legal challenges from the start. Now in late 2025, the stakes are higher than ever. The Supreme Court is deeply involved, shaping not just Trump's future, but the presidency itself. Fundamental questions are being asked. How much power should a president have? Can anyone, even a president, be held accountable? This isn't just another political fight, it's a test of the checks and balances our founders put in place. The system was designed for three co-equal branches: executive, legislative, and judicial, each limiting the others. Today, that balance is under direct challenge. Major rulings could redefine presidential authority for generations. One key decision has granted presidents broad immunity from prosecution for official acts, with huge implications for accountability. Another battle centers on immigration, leading to direct confrontations between the courts and the administration. These events are part of a larger struggle over the rule of law. For Americans, the outcomes of these cases have real-world consequences, affecting families, government programs, and public trust. The integrity of our judicial system is on the line. When judges fear retaliation, public trust in the law erodes. What happens in the coming months will have a lasting impact on every citizen. In July 2024, the Supreme Court issued a landmark decision: presidents have broad immunity for official acts. This ruling was a major victory for Trump, halting several criminal cases against him. The court's decision blurred the line between official duties and personal actions, raising fears of a dangerous loophole. Critics argue it could let presidents escape consequences by claiming their actions were part of their job. Trump declared himself immune from prosecution, emboldening his administration. Since returning to office, Trump has acted aggressively, canceling grants, firing workers, and pushing a strict immigration agenda. Many actions have been challenged in court, but the administration often wins emergency appeals at the Supreme Court. These quick, unexplained rulings have shifted power toward the executive branch. Legal experts warn this is a step toward an imperial presidency. The debate now is about the precedent for all future presidents. The Supreme Court's decision has opened a new chapter in the conversation about power and justice. The question remains, can the president truly be held accountable? In March 2025, a dramatic confrontation erupted over the deportation of 200 Venezuelan nationals. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg halted the flights, insisting the individuals deserved due process. The government claimed the planes had already taken off, prompting the judge to order them turned back mid-air. This bold move highlighted the judiciary's willingness to check executive power. The administration paused the deportations but quickly moved to have Judge Boasberg removed, accusing him of bias. The case escalated from a policy dispute to a fight over the separation of powers. It became a symbol of the judiciary pushing back against presidential overreach. The standoff was a public spectacle, capturing the intensity of the political climate. On one side, a judge upholding legal rights. On the other, an administration determined to act without interference. The image of a judge ordering planes to turn around underscored the stakes. It showed the judiciary's resolve and the executive's resistance. This was more than a legal skirmish, it was a constitutional showdown. The conflict tested the limits of each branch's authority. The outcome would set a precedent for future clashes. The nation watched as the balance of power hung in the balance. The legal battle with Judge Boasberg quickly spilled into politics. President Trump attacked the judge on social media, calling for his impeachment, a rare move for a sitting president. The message was clear: judges who block his agenda face political consequences. This escalated the conflict from legal dispute to direct threat against the judiciary. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts responded with a rare public rebuke, defending judicial independence. Roberts reminded the public that impeachment is not a tool for disagreeing with rulings. The clash between Trump and Roberts exposed deep tensions in Washington. Some allies supported impeaching judges who block policies, framing it as accountability. Critics warned this threatens the rule of law and chills judicial independence. The war of words was more than personal. It was a fight over the court's fundamental role. Would the judiciary remain independent or become a political tool? The answer would shape the future of American democracy. The president's public attacks are fueling a surge in threats against judges. Federal judges who rule against the administration now face harassment and credible threats of violence. In early 2025, even the family of a Supreme Court justice was targeted. The climate has become toxic. with judges forced to take extra security precautions. The U.S. Marshals Service reports threats have doubled in recent years. This pressure undermines judicial independence and impartiality. Political rhetoric from top officials contributes to the danger, normalizing hostility toward the courts. Some in Congress propose creating an independent security force for judges. The debate highlights the seriousness of the threat. Judges now need protection simply for doing their jobs. The safety of those upholding the law is at risk. The independence of the judiciary depends on their ability to rule without fear. Impeaching judges for their rulings is a sharp break from American tradition. The Constitution allows impeachment for serious crimes, not political disagreements. Only 15 federal judges have ever been impeached. Just 8 were removed, all for misconduct or crime. Presidential impeachments are equally rare and reserved for grave offenses. The founders intended removal from office to be a last resort. Today's threats against judges come amid real violence. Judges and their families have been targeted and even killed. This is not just political noise, it's a dangerous break from historical norms. The current climate puts public servants' lives at risk. The stakes are higher than ever for the rule of law. History warns against using impeachment as a political weapon. Despite a conservative majority, the Supreme Court is not a rubber stamp for Trump. The court has checked the president's power, showing outcomes are not always predictable. In the Venezuelan deportation case, the court blocked the administration, affirming due process. Even a conservative-leaning court enforces limits on executive power. Chief Justice Roberts, though less pivotal since Barrett's confirmation, sometimes joins liberals to moderate the court. In April 2025, Roberts sided with liberals to restore education grants cut by Trump. These defeats show the court remains a battleground, not a political monolith. Each case brings unique legal questions and real disagreement. The next term will be contentious, with major cases on Trump's economic agenda and executive authority. The court's decisions will continue to shape the nation's future. The balance of power remains in flux. As 2026 approaches, the conflict between the White House and the judiciary shows no sign of easing. More legal battles and political pressure are ahead, with the Supreme Court set to rule on high-stakes cases. The struggle over separation of powers is far from over. Judges must maintain independence despite unprecedented intimidation. The health of our legal system depends on their courage. For Americans, this is a moment to pay attention. These principles are the bedrock of our government. Public trust in the courts is fragile. If lost, democracy itself is at risk. The future may depend on Congress and the public defending judicial independence. The story is still being written, and the stakes are incredibly high. The outcome will shape the future of the American experiment.